Welcome to Captivating Conversations. I am your host, Maddie Zarina Whitfield, and this is Captivating Conversations, authentic conversations to loving relationships. Today we are going to be interviewing ordinary people who do extraordinary things in their community, in their relationships, in their life. I have the pleasure of having Miss Sunetta Alexander here. She is the first lady of one of the largest churches in Little Rock, Arkansas. So first I want to say welcome. It is a pleasure to have you.
And it's a pleasure being here.
Yes, you look amazingly radiant today.
Oh my God, thank you.
You're
and so do
welcome.
you.
Thank you. So tell us a quick synopsis on how the journey was of becoming a first lady.
Okay. Well, it was a long journey.
Okay.
It was definitely a process. Nothing happened overnight.
So it wasn't quick.
It wasn't quick. Like I said, it was a process. So my husband, he would come and preach and teach and all those wonderful things back at my home church in Milwaukee.
Okay.
And so I'll be honest and transparent because I think that's what you want on Captivating Conversations.
Authentic. Yes, yes.
My husband was actually married when he would come and preach and teach back home at my home church.
Okay.
And I was one of the 20 girls or women at the church who was just like, oh my God, Pastor Alexander is just so attractive and he's so cute and he's so, this, that, and the other. And I think most of us was just attracted to his anointing.
Yes.
But as he would come, I would never say anything to him. I would never speak to him. I would walk right past him as if he didn't exist. Mm-hmm. And the one thing I admired about him most was that how much he admired his wife and how much he adored his wife and how much he loved his wife. And I would sit back and honestly, I would say, I want my husband to love me like he loves her. Not knowing all that God had in store for me or for us. That he would be your husband. That he would be my husband.
Amazing. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so they went through a divorce. And for whatever reason, the Lord put him on his mind. And he reached out to my godfather and wanted to officially meet me and take me out and all those wonderful things. And so time went on and we dated and we broke up and then we got back together. And when we got back together, he immediately asked me to marry him. And so I've been his wife and the first lady of the church for 3 years now.
Okay. So what I heard in that is it definitely was a process.
It was a process.
And how people, when you think of love, or when most people think of the fictitious way of love, they think it happens like this, with nothing wrong, everything, the man is going to come to you perfect and ready.
Nope, it did not happen that way. Like I said, we dated and then we broke up and then we got back together again.
Yes.
That's not a perfect relationship, but it was perfect for us.
Yes,
it was perfect for us. The timing was perfect. Had we got married early on, it may not have worked out.
Okay.
So I think everything happens when it needs to happen, and it's important that it happens in God's timing.
Yes. So I see this beautiful little man on your page all the time. Tell us about him.
So I'm assuming you're talking about Ethan.
Yes.
So Ethan Clark Alexander, he'll be 2 years old in July. And when I tell you he is just the joy and the pride and everything I have, I just love that little boy. I really do. But yes, so that was another thing. I always wanted children. And so my husband has 2 children from a previous marriage. Okay. And so I know the earthly term is stepmom and stepchildren. However, I don't think we've never used that term in our home.
So do they call you mom?
They do not call me mom. They call me Sunetta.
Okay.
But I don't think I've ever heard them reference me as their stepmom.
Okay.
So they don't call me mom, but the relationship is still there. Yes. Those are my children. Okay. My husband is a package deal. Now, I didn't have any children. I came by myself, and he'll joke and say, yeah, you had 2 duffel bags. But it was just me. But he was a package deal, and a package deal that I just love. So
now there's always this, it can be friction with stepchildren with the mom, or I guess the ex-wife.
Yes.
The ex-wife and the mom and the father. Have you ran into those type of frictions? And is there a certain way as a first lady and a woman of God that you handle that?
Well, as a woman in general, regardless of my title and my role as a first lady, I'm always a woman of class and grace. And so no matter what happens in life, I have to remain that woman with grace and class. So regardless of anything that may have occurred or will occur, whatever the case may be, I know who I am who I belong to. And so I can't react to certain things. And so there isn't drama in our life. There really isn't drama. And so the Lord covers us, the Lord protects us, and he really takes care of our family.
Okay, so as a woman of class and grace, I love how you said that. Are there certain pressures that you feel when you're going out, grocery store, just common things that we as women have to do as mothers, that we have to do as a working woman? Because you do work, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so the pressures of being out in the world and outside of the Sunday walls of church.
Yeah.
What are some of those things that you have to deal with?
Well,
and are they different?
Well, for me, because I not only just represent myself, I represent my husband. And so it's very important that I look up to par, because I'm not just Sunetta, unfortunately, and it's not a bad thing at all. But when I'm out, people see me and they'll say, that's Alexander's wife.
Yes.
And so I just kind of disappear because I'm Alexander's wife. And so I need to always make sure that I look up to par. That's very important. And that I continue to handle myself in grace and class. And so I'm not doing anything that will be embarrassing to him or to the church. I not only represent Sunetta, I represent the body of St. Luke as well as my husband.
Now that was amazing, because you said you represent your husband and sometimes you disappear. There are a lot of women, are independent women, who would have a big problem with that. Do you run into some of those women in church, and what are some of the things that you would help them get through the process? Because I am a woman that believes in being a part of your man. So I've seen, just for example, I've seen Instagram profiles where, like, my favorite Marjorie Harvey, she says wife of Steve Harvey, and then it goes into everything else. So there are women that would have a problem with that. Do you think when you get to that level that should be a problem or even an issue?
You know what? If you love that man and he takes good care of you, why is that an issue? Why is that an issue? Now, if it's some knucklehead.
But what if it's a knucklehead? You shouldn't have married him.
If it's a knucklehead, you shouldn't have married him.
Yes.
And so I can see the not wanting to have that connection. You know, I'm proud to be Eric's wife. And so when I'm known as that, I wear that with honor. I wear that with a privilege. Everybody can't be his wife. I'm his wife.
You hear that? That is an honor. I love that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So in the church, there are a lot of single women in the church. And I have my own philosophy of why they're single and in the church. But what, I'm sure you do the women's ministry, right?
Yes.
Okay, so as the women's ministry, you have women that come to you and tell you some of the challenges they have. If you had to, like, make it 3 challenges that you said were the main challenges that women have and why they're still single in the house of God, what would those be, just in your opinion?
Well, you mentioned one earlier, and it was independence. You know, having to, some women feel like, you know, once they get married, they kind of lose that independence. And you do, in a sense, because that moment you say I do is not just you, and then you're not just living for you. It's you and your spouse. And so you have become one. And so it's you, your spouse, and the Lord. And so most women, some women don't want to lose that. Some women don't want to lose that freedom and the liberty to be able to do and go as they please. I was okay with giving it up.
Now, is it that they don't want to lose it and they want to be married?
I I think so. I think
they got to choose.
They have to
pretty
choose.
much.
You have to choose. You have to choose. You have to choose. You know, they say choose which battles.
There
you have
go.
to choose
Which one you want to fight.
Which one you want to fight. You have to choose. I was okay with giving up that lifestyle. And just because you're married doesn't mean you're tied to the house, you're stuck to the house, you can't do anything, you can't go anywhere. It's you do everything with limits. You do everything, you have respect for your spouse, obviously, and there's boundaries and everything.
Mm-hmm. So I like to say it's being interdependent. That you're no longer your own. You're intertwined with your husband and you're interdependent. So you still have your existence. You just coexist.
Absolutely.
And you coexist with a certain respect level.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, that was one. What else?
So the other, I would say, past hurt. Abuse, whether it was physical, emotional, mental, past relationships. You know, I know women, and not just in the church, but just women, friends, family members that have gone through a lot.
Yes.
Whether it was a marriage, whether it was someone they dated, and they're turned off. They do not want to give themselves away ever again because of that hurt. And they have not forgiven that person.
Yes. Which is a huge part of healing.
Yes. And they have not forgiven themselves.
Yes.
Because a lot of times you think, oh, if you just forgive the person, you'll be able to move on. But no, you need to forgive yourself. Because at some moment you have had to feel like, why did I allow this person to treat me this way or do those certain things? And so I can speak to that from experience.
Now, if I was to add on to that, for me it was forgiving myself, forgiving the person, and forgiving God. Because I blame God for putting me in that position to be abused. So why would you put me in that position to be abused when in actuality we have choices?
We do.
And now I can look and say that it grew me. It grew a portion of me that helps make me the woman that I am today. But at that point, I had an attitude. Me and God wasn't friends. Like, no, you wouldn't have did. If you loved me, you would not have
allowed this to happen.
Yes.
And I think as Christians, we go through those moments where we question God. And I was at a service, an Easter service, and the speaker said, just because you question God does not mean you question God. And so we may sit back and say, why did you let this happen? Why? Tell me, why did you let this happen? And a lot of times it's for growth.
Yes.
It's for growth.
And you can help the next person. Because now, if someone tells me that I've been in an abusive relationship and I went back, and then I went back, I don't judge her because I understand. Yeah. I know how it feels to go back when you're not supposed to go back.
Absolutely.
So it helps you help the next person. Yeah.
You can't help me if you've never, ever been in anything.
Tell me about it. Like, you don't know.
What are you going to tell me?
Well, you can try.
You can try.
But it's not authentic. It's not genuine. In some essence, you're judging me because you don't know what it's like to have walked in those shoes.
Give someone,
or like I say, those heels.
Those heels. I love it. You need to give someone real principles.
Yes.
Real principles. Realistic goals and principles to get through anything.
Yes. So we have that she's too independent. We have that she may be abused and just really not desire to open up her heart like that again. But what about the woman that's not that independent? She don't mind giving up her, what people would consider you giving up too much, but she's just in love with being in love with her man. She's cool with that. And then she's not abused. She's healed from that. Why is she still single?
Oh, girl, she's just crazy. You know, there's good crazy, there's bad crazy.
And then there's crazy.
And then there's just crazy.
Yeah. It's okay, ladies. I have my guy. He tell me on the sly once in a while, I know you crazy.
Yeah. My husband, he accuses me of being crazy all the time. But I think there's different situations. So you can have the one that's controlling.
Okay.
And honestly, a real man does not want to be controlled.
Yes.
A real man.
Can you say that again,
A real
please?
man cannot be controlled.
Yes.
And so you immediately turn
him
the
off.
man off.
Yep. every single time on the date.
And that may be how you grew up. Mm-hmm. So you watched your mama be controlling. Mm-hmm. You watched your grandmama be controlled. Or controlling, rather.
Or another one is your dad told you, don't let no man control you. Mm-hmm. Don't let no man do this. Because that's one of the things that I found, too. We have a lot of men that are raising their daughters to be amazing. Yeah. But one of the things that they're doing is you're raising your daughter to be somebody that you won't want to date. Because she's so controlling and so bossy and so independent, she don't need nobody. So you're raising a generation of somebody who's going to be alone.
Right. I was reading on Instagram the other day, and someone made a post about the importance of how you raise your children.
Yes.
And just think about, you're raising somebody's husband.
Yes.
You're raising somebody's wife.
Yes.
So think about those things that you need and desire as a spouse. If you're raising your child to be a certain way, can they provide that?
Yes.
In the future. Can they provide that? So I think as women, we need to, well, now that I'm married, so I don't fall into this category.
You don't fall into the category anymore. But go ahead. I'm listening. We're listening. Go ahead.
You need to be open.
Okay.
You need to be open. You need to be honest. And there are certain areas that you do need to change, I believe. Everybody says, oh, just take me how I am. No.
Well, change is growth.
Change is growth.
Yeah.
There needs to be some tuning up.
Some tweaking.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No twerking, tweaking. Tweaking. Love it. Okay, so I got that. So those are the single categories. And that's just some. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of more.
Absolutely.
But we find a lot of women that are in church that are still single that do desire to be married. And if you just fall into one of those categories, just kind of take, I'm always a fan of taking a look at yourself.
Absolutely.
And finding out what's really going on with you and what you really have to alter, tweak, not twerk, but tweak, that could make you the amazing match for somebody else in your life.
Yes.
So one of the big challenges, taboo words, all that good stuff is submission. Now, where does submission place for you in a marriage from your world of being in the church? Like, a lot of women have a problem with the word submission, although it says it in the Bible, and they can tell you where it says it in the Bible, but it's, I ain't doing that. What do you think?
Well, let's cover really what's important, and that is what submission is not.
Okay.
And the reason why I want to cover what submission is not is because I think a lot of the myths of what people think submission is, it really isn't.
Okay.
So can we cover, and I took some notes because I knew we would talk about this.
Oh, she ready. Look at her.
I am ready. I didn't want to miss this beat. So submission is not the moment you say, I do, that you've left your brain at the altar. That is not submission.
Okay.
Which means you no longer have an opinion. Which means you no longer can speak. That is not submission.
So it's not our presidential wife.
It is not. No.
Okay.
That is not. The other thing is being a yes woman. That is not submission. The other thing is agreeing on everything. So
she's free to have an opinion.
She is free. You are free to have an opinion.
Yes.
I have an opinion in my home.
And it matters.
Yes. My opinion matters.
Yes. Okay.
Absolutely. I do not get all of my spiritual strength from my husband. I have my own relationship with God.
Yes.
I pray to God by myself. Now, my husband and I, we pray together. And my husband prays for me and I pray for him. But my relationship with God has nothing to do with my husband.
Now, pause right there. So you said your relationship with God. So relationship being just in the church?
No. I have a relationship
outside of church.
Outside of church.
Yes, outside of church, in your prayer life.
Yes.
In your walk and the things that you do.
Absolutely.
Is it perfect?
No. Nothing's perfect.
It's imperfect.
It's imperfect.
And it's still perfect that it's imperfect.
And it's still perfect that it's perfect.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
Absolutely. So don't let anyone tell you life's perfect, a marriage should be perfect, your relationship with God should be perfect. It would never be.
Yes.
It would never be.
Yes.
But every day is a new day.
It is.
Every day is a new day.
Get up and make it happen.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I wrote down here is I don't put the will of my husband in front of the will of God.
Mm.
It's God, my husband, my children, and everything else.
So it's not your children before God? Before your husband?
No.
Really?
Absolutely not.
Now that's a fake shock because I already know that. But for the ladies that already have children and then they get married, then it's children before husband.
It's never children before husband.
Oh, you hear that? It's never.
Your spouse
is first. And to me, the simplest way to explain that, outside of that's the way of the Bible, is your children are supposed to grow up, have a family of their own, and get married. And then it's you and your husband.
Right.
So if it's been your children and then your husband.
You have no relationship with your spouse.
And you don't know him anymore. And now
no
you're
relationship.
in a relationship where you're unknown to each other. And you probably will end up either unhappy or divorced.
Absolutely. Because you've been together at this point 20-something years.
Right.
And so you're like, why? It's cheaper to keep her is what they say.
But I'm going to be completely miserable.
Right.
And not enjoy my
Absolutely.
life. Because my children were the life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's God, my husband, and my children, and everything else.
I love it. I love it. So, do you have another?
I do. It's my last one.
Okay.
Submission is not trying to influence your husband.
Okay.
Okay. And what I mean by that is if your husband is living a life of sin or doing something that's inappropriate, you can call him out on it.
Okay.
Now, I believe there's a way to call him out.
Always a way in how you say things, ladies. Communication is the key.
I believe there's a way.
Yes.
But you're his wife. You're his spouse. So you should challenge him just like he should challenge you. And so if you see him or you notice he's doing something that's not right, that's inappropriate, or that's not of God, you should be able to say, okay, I'm pulling on your coattail. You know that's not right.
She's not supposed to say, you're not supposed to be doing that. I don't know why you're doing that.
I would advise that she does not do that.
She was supposed to have a neck roll, and you're not supposed to be doing that, and you a man of God.
Yeah, the whole neck rolling is gonna, that's an argument
That's
waiting to happen.
That's an argument waiting to happen in the body language.
In anything, you be gentle.
Yes.
You be gentle, baby. You know, that's not what we agreed upon. You know that's not the will of the Lord. Allow God to convict him and change
I like to
his
say,
mind.
you give more with sugar than you do it.
See there?
All the time. Just talking sugar. Grace.
Absolutely.
Kind.
Yes.
Gentle.
Be gentle.
Yes.
Still be a lady. Do not buck at your husband.
Do not buck at your husband.
Do not buck at your husband.
Now, you said submission is not calling him out, basically. So.
No, submission is not calling him out. So you can call him out, but you don't do it in front of everybody.
Yes.
He makes a mistake. Why you do that? No, that's not how you do that.
In front of the family.
In front of the family. No, that's not how you do that.
So it's how you say it.
It's how you say it.
When you say it.
When you say it.
Okay.
Timing is everything.
Yes.
I always know when my husband is stressed. And so I know that's not the time to ask for expensive shoes.
So you said I always know my husband. Knowing your mate is very important. It's very important to a successful relationship, knowing when to ask, when not to ask, when to be quiet.
Absolutely.
When not to be quiet. There's
know
a
when
method.
to pray.
When to pray. And when to go to war.
Yep. And what to pray for.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. One of the things I know my husband appreciates me for is my support to him. And he knows that. So we talked about the order.
Yes.
What's important. So he knows he'll never go before the Lord. Never. Ever.
Ever.
He's not my God.
Yes.
Okay. But he knows that he's first in my life. So no matter what's going on, I'm present and I show interest in everything he has going on in his life.
Now that right there to me is it's a key to a successful relationship. Being supportive in whatever he's doing and knowing that he matters and he's first.
Absolutely.
Like, we have a lot of women who don't support, who could care less about what they, or husband has been doing something so long and they could be to a point where they're so successful, but that they just became, oh, that's just what he does.
Yeah. So they show no interest.
They're comfortable. Completely.
So I'm a city girl.
Okay.
Always have been.
Me too.
And so I moved to Little Rock, obviously, for my husband. And he owns a barn and horses and, yeah, exactly. Me on a horse. Can you imagine? And I've embraced that part of his life.
Now, that was a big step.
That's a big step.
A big step.
Because I'm like, can I wear heels out there in the barn?
No.
What am I supposed to wear?
No. Libertines don't go in the barn.
Yeah, they don't go in the barn.
They don't go in the barn.
No. So I have to, but that's what he enjoys.
Yes.
Now, he likes to be out there alone. It's his time of meditation and all of that. But when we're going out there as a family and it's just he and I brush the horse's hair and throw food in there. You know, so I participate.
And smile?
And I smile.
Yeah.
But I actually enjoy it.
Good.
And I know my husband appreciates that because he knows that's not me.
So,
but he's interested in it.
Let's
so I show
talk
interest.
Unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations in relationships. You can just give like one of the things that you think that you see come up common in some of the women that you deal with, and also unrealistic expectations of you that people have.
I think I'll give a couple. So I think for you to set the parameters that they didn't have a pre-existing life before you.
They being
so your spouse or
Okay.
your new mate or whatever the case may be.
Okay.
That they did not have a pre-existing life before you. Whether it was children, whether it was family. People have lives before they get married.
Absolutely.
And so just because you get married, you don't ignore everything
that was in your past.
Now, some things you let go, you move on, you never turn back.
Exes.
But you still have a mother. You still have a father. And your parents may be getting older or they may have needs. You still try to meet those needs with the respect of your spouse.
Yes.
So you run things by your spouse. You let them know, okay, mom needs money, dad needs whatever. So don't treat them as if they didn't have a pre-existing life prior to you. One of the key things for me is, and my husband, I think he loves this too, is although I don't mind being his wife, there are some occasions where I want us to go somewhere and he's known as my husband.
Oh, okay.
And they're saying, oh, that's her husband.
Yeah.
Because wherever scene we are in or wherever we are, I'm the person.
Wife.
I'm the wife.
Yeah.
You know, and not that he's following up behind me, but he's there with me.
Yes.
Because as first ladies, we can or we will disappear. And I don't want to use the word disappear, but our husband and all that he does kind of overshadows us and our life, and we support and we push, and a lot of times the things that we do have going on gets ignored, but not intentionally. I don't think there's malice behind it. It's just the life we live in.
Okay. And for something like that, is there a community or like a support group where, like, you know, the first ladies have an opportunity to talk about things that only a first lady would understand? And so for us, that would be like, I don't believe in venting down. I did a whole video on venting up. It's very important to me that you vent up to people that can empower you and inspire you to get back to where you are. So is that extremely important for you?
Absolutely. So I'm not a part of a support group or anything of such. However, I do have other first ladies that I connect with. So I guess they're my own part of a circle, if you will. And we share. And so what I may share with them, I may not share with my girlfriend from down the street because she may not understand some of the things that I have going on because she does not walk in that role every day.
Okay.
And so it you know, my husband, obviously, he has several pastor friends, and so I've connected with their wives, and we've become, you know, really, really great friends. So I do have that support. My godmother back home, I call and text her when I have something going on or if I feel a certain way. But I try to get it out because just like with anything, if you hold something in, it just turns into bitterness and resentment and all of that. So I talk it out. And then it's a check for me. And so the first thing I say, well, tell me if I'm crazy. Tell me. There's crazy again. Tell me if I should feel this way about whatever the situation is. And then I'm also being held accountable for my actions and my emotions and all of that. Because, you know, women, and especially me, I'm dramatic.
Of
you
course.
know, I go from 0 to 100. You know, I take the very smallest thing. And so I run that by them to say, hey, I need to run something by you. I feel this way. Tell me, are my feelings valid?
Do you run that by them before you explode?
Yes.
Okay. You don't just explode and then come back?
I never explode.
Okay. So that's a tip, ladies. The exploding doesn't benefit you.
Yeah.
Check your emotions first.
Yeah.
Make the phone call first. Pause. And then if you're right, you've given yourself time to calm down and then go back. So there is no explosion. So you're drama free like that.
I'm drama free like that.
There you go. So let's talk the hot topic of relationships. So you find, and we're not going to talk sex unmarried. We're going to talk sex and married. And how I have a lot of men in my audience that talk to me, and they have a lot of comments about how their wife is not the person they married in the sex category anymore. And it's almost like it became taboo for her. She's no longer interested, or it's some connection that she's lost, and it's almost like she's blaming it on church. Like, God is watching me now. Like, really, like he wasn't watching you before. But now he's watching you, and you don't want to be condemned, but you're married.
You're married.
So how does that go? And I'm pretty sure you've had people come to you with those issues. You
know what? Honestly, I have not had anyone come to me.
So they all good in that department?
I ain't gonna say they all good.
They just not talking about it.
They just came to me.
Okay.
But I think men may complain about it, but I have not had one person come to me with those issues.
Okay.
But let me say this. Ladies. And I'm not going to say whatever you did to get them, you got to make sure you keep it up to keep them. Although I do agree with that. But if you feel like something has happened, if you feel like you can't get through this rough time, because that's a rough time if you're not sleeping with your spouse.
Yeah.
It's
a disconnection.
It's a total disconnection. And so if you need to see someone, whether it's a therapist or a doctor, it's okay to see someone. Because maybe there could be something going on hormonal that you don't know about. Or maybe something happened that you're not thinking about, and it's a therapist that would dig down and dig deep to figure out why you feel the way you feel.
Because there's a connection in the emotional.
Yeah.
And the physical.
If
you're holding on to unforgiveness, if you're holding on to resentment, it's building, and now you're no longer attracted to him. He may not be attracted to you because he has to let go of some things. But is that a big factor of divorce? I mean, we already know it is, but just from you.
Absolutely. I believe it's a huge factor in why divorce happened. No one wants to put the work in.
Can you stop?
Sure.
Say it again.
No one wants to put the work in. And marriage is work.
Yes.
Marriage is work. You can't just wake up and everything's perfect.
Yes.
First of all, it won't be perfect. It needs to be perfect for you and your spouse.
Yes.
The love I have for my husband is a perfect kind of love. But it may not be perfect for someone else.
It's just perfect for you.
It's perfect for me.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean we're perfect.
That's not looking at what society claims is a perfect marriage or what they see on social media and TV and all that good stuff. It's just you define what's perfect and successful.
Absolutely.
For your relationship.
My relationship and my relationship with my husband is going to be different from your relationship with your husband.
Mm-hmm.
I'm speaking that into existence. And so the things that you desire may not be the things I desire.
Right.
And so that's the other thing. Get people out of your ear.
Ooh, girl, yes.
Get people out of your ear.
Now, let's talk that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll double back. Do you discuss your marriage? Like, are people really supposed to be discussing their marriage like that? That is your private space that other people should not know like that. Your friends, in my opinion, your friends shouldn't know you mad at him for whatever reason and da-da-da-da. Unless you call that friend to help you go back home,
mm-hmm.
they should know the drama
Absolutely.
part, right?
I totally agree. My husband, he's very private just as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that dating him. I just knew that having a relationship with him, that he's very private. And so I already knew. Although I knew, because you just don't do that. But I really, really knew.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Right.
And so I don't talk about our marriage unless there's something where I feel like I need advice or I need help.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only to better my marriage.
Yes. What about the family? The family in your marriage?
My family?
Families, period.
Families,
in your
period.
marriage.
You don't tell your family nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Your family is not in your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
You don't tell them anything. You tell them something, and then you decide to stay with your husband. You decide to stay with your wife. And guess who's still mad at your spouse?
Your mother.
Your family.
Your family.
You've forgiven them.
Mm-hmm.
They have not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you make it very clean and you don't say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You keep it to yourself. If it's that big of an issue, go see someone. Go talk to somebody. But you don't repeat what goes on in your marriage
Mm-hmm.
to your mother and to your father unless
It's
it's for advice.
Yeah.
And you know your mother or your father wouldn't go to the extreme based upon what you share with them.
Or unless it's abusive.
Oh, absolutely.
If it's abusive, of course, don't be quiet about it. Say something. Let someone know so that they can be able to assist
Absolutely.
you.
I don't condone abuse. The church does not condone
Right.
abuse.
So let's talk that. So if you're in an abusive relationship, but the church does not condone divorce,
Mm-hmm.
does that still count?
The Lord didn't tell us to sit around and get beat up on.
Right.
He didn't say that.
Right.
He doesn't want that for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I would never tell anybody to leave their spouse. And I'm not telling anybody to leave their spouse. But if someone puts their hands on you, there's a great chance that they'll do it again.
Absolutely.
And you have the upper hand.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a matter of you feel like maybe they need to go to counseling, make them go to counseling.
Demand it.
Demand it. You have the upper hand. You're the victim.
Mm-hmm. So doubling back to sex,
God.
what is quote unquote healthy sex in a marriage?
Healthy sex in a marriage is meeting the needs and the desires of your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you can meet those needs are through communication
Okay.
and conversation
Mm-hmm.
and really being in tune with your spouse.
Yes.
You can't meet somebody's needs if you don't know what those needs are. If you're not connected to them.
And that's also giving a voice to what your needs are.
Absolutely.
Being honest.
It's okay to say what you want
And what you don't.
and what you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
Tell him. Tell her.
Yes.
I don't like when you do this. You have to be mature and you have to be an adult about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. That doesn't make me feel good.
Now, I consider sex as a form of communication.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just having another effective conversation.
Another effective conversation.
So one conversation gets another conversation.
Another conversation.
Another time.
Now that's sex between husband and wife. Husband and wife.
Got it. So I must say, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you here today.
Oh, Maddie.
And you are my first interview.
Yay!
Yay! So I thank you for being here with me. I thank you for sharing yourself unconstrained and everything that you have going on. And I thank you for not saying that it's perfect, because it's not.
But I thank you for having me. You know what this has done for me.
Yes.
So I thank you, and I look forward to coming back.
And all of those that are in her community, This is the beginning for her. Yes. Hold her accountable.
Yes.
Yes.
I love you.
I love you. So I want to thank you all for joining us for Captivating Conversations. This is the beginning of a new journey for us. We're going to be interviewing ordinary people who do extraordinary things in the world and touch lives and have beautiful relationships all in the process. They have it all. And it's not perfect. It's imperfect, but it's just perfect that it's that.
Yes. Absolutely.
See you soon. Don't forget to subscribe wherever that button is. And make sure that you like this, share with a friend. We have all type of women in our community that are women, Christian women, women of God, and you want to make sure that you share this with them just to let them know that they are on the right path and it's always able to be transformed, elevated, and just amazing. Thank you.